You have made it to one of the most famous buildings in the world, the Eiffel Tower in Paris. You're not the only one to see the tower though, as it is the most visited paid monument in the world. An estimate of over 200 million people has seen the tower on site since its construction in 1889. The building is named after its main designer, the French metallic structure expert and engineer Gustave Eiffel. Eiffel had previously designed multiple metallic structures, such as several railway bridges and the armature for another world-known monument, the Statue of Liberty. This time, he had his eyes on constructing a metal structure in the shape of a tower. What many people don't know is that the building was originally planned to be in Barcelona for the Universal Exposition in 1888, but it was turned down as being too expensive and strange. Instead, Eiffel tried to build in Paris for the Universal Exposition in 1889, and this time the building was approved. 50 engineers produced over 5,300 drawings of the different parts needed to build the tower. The tower's 18,000 metal parts were built separately in workshops and then assembled on site using more than 2,500,000 rivets. Even though the assembly was extremely dangerous, without many of the modern safety procedures, only one man was killed during the construction. The construction began in 1887 and the tower stood finished in March 31st, 1889. The Iron Lady, as it is sometimes called, has not always been the beloved structure it is today. During its planning and construction phase, many protested against the construction of the tower. Many called it an eyesore, and the papers were filled with angry letters from the arts communities in Paris. Even after its construction, the tower was highly controversial amongst the Parisians. One famous quote is from the novelist Guy de Maupassant, who hated the tower but still went to its restaurant every day. When asked why, he said it was because it was the only place in Paris where one could not see the structure. Luckily for the Eiffel Tower haters, Eiffel only had permit to keep the tower for 20 years. After that, it would be demolished. However, as the tower proved valuable for telecommunication purposes, it was allowed to remain intact even after the time had expired. As time passed, more and more people started to like the building. Today, almost all Parisians love the tower. Throughout the years, the Eiffel Tower has seen a lot. People have tried new weird parachute innovations, more or less successfully. An elephant has been on a visit inside the tower, and staircase races have been conducted. The tower also experienced the German occupation of Paris during the Second World War. During the occupation, the lift cables inside the tower were cut by the French, this to make sure that Hitler had to take the 1,665 steps if he wanted to scale to the top, since the proper parts to repair the lift were impossible to obtain during the war. When visiting Paris, Hitler remained on the ground. Thus it is said that Hitler conquered France, but he never conquered the Eiffel Tower. At the liberation of Paris in 1944, the Eiffel Tower became a symbol of liberty when a French flag made of 3 bed sheets was sewn together and raised on the top of the tower. The building was at its time of construction the highest tower in the world with its 312 meters. Today, the tower totals 324 meters, as an antenna has been added on the top. The tower weighs in at a massive 10,100 tons, and to prevent the metal from rusting, the tower is covered with a protective paint. Even though it can be hard to spot, the tower is actually painted in a 3-tone variation paint, with the lightest tone on top and darker the further down it goes. This is to make sure that the tower complements the Paris sky as well as possible. The tower needs to be repainted every 7 years, and as you can imagine, it takes quite some time and paint to finish the job. Each repaint takes between 15 and 18 months, and around 60 tons of paint is required. If you haven't already, make sure to get a glimpse of the tower by night. By night, 20,000 light bulbs turn something fantastic into something truly amazing.